remind the American public and investors why you need a Bitcoin reserve at all.
Well, good to be here. I mean, the reason why we need a Bitcoin reserve is that the federal government already.
Before David Sacks get into this explanation of the Bitcoin reserve about the crypto summit that they had in Washington, D.C. at the White House, I am Crypto Doe. I'm here to bring you the crypto news. Also, we turn crypto into dough. Anyway, I've been doing this for well over 6 years, so I want to share everything I know with you guys, so together we can go further than Wells Fargo. Only thing I ask you guys to do in return is smash that like button, hit that subscribe, slap that bell notification for me. That's all I ask. Also, hit the Coinbase link that's presented at the bottom of the screen. I'm going to pin that to the chat. A lot of people were, to me, they thought that we got rugged, right? Altcoin community are in flames right now, saying that it's just all about Bitcoin. Now, they had a separate reserve for Bitcoin and then a stockpile for altcoins. They stated that they didn't plan on my video I did yesterday or the day prior. They stated that they didn't plan on adding any more money to altcoins, right? They say that they won't use the taxpayer dollar, but they will find different ways in the United States, maybe by cutting this or the profit from Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, maybe use that to then buy some Bitcoin. I foresee that it's going to be a war, right? And I'm not saying Bitcoin is the best solution, but it's going to be a war for Bitcoin, whether we like it or not. I'm a big XRP holder. I am a big XLM holder. I believe in certain altcoins like Chainlink and things that will make the space better. I thought the fact that they even had a summit was a step forward, regardless of how some people may feel. But just to have this as a summit in the White House actually talked about, can we give ourselves a round of applause? Because think about it, we have come so far. We can't forget where we have came from, where people frowned upon us. People told us that crypto was not it. People let you know that a certain protocol, especially the utility coins, right? It was a waste of your investment. I think that with David Sacks and the United States government, they're going to put together something that's going to be meaningful to the world, because now the whole global world is going to compete for to be the crypto capital. El Salvador have not stopped buying, though the IMF, which was kind of funny to me, that made me even want to buy more Bitcoin. The IMF told them they couldn't buy Bitcoin. I think that the United States and China is going to war over Bitcoin. The Cold War has started, and not a physical war. It's going to be an economical war, right? Starting with tariffs. Then it's going to be whoever can get the most Bitcoin. You can control the world by having a lot of Bitcoins and selling it off, and or having it and keeping it. You know, so these are the things. It's only a finite amount that's actually made. It's only 6% left, and if you have the world competing, and the banks are going to actually begin to allow you to actually invest into Bitcoin, then what do you think is going to happen, right? Now, I am for Bitcoin. I'm for crypto as in general. Bitcoin, some people might say that that's a scam or it isn't as efficient. It's something like gold, but it's not. It's sold a store of value. MicroStrategy, to me, was kind of smart to hedge against the US dollar by using Bitcoin. I always thought that was ingenious, right? Do I think Bitcoin is the day-to-day protocol to be used? Perhaps not. But as far as the utility of the coin or the technology, I don't believe so. But the fact that it's an anonymous and people don't know who Satoshi is, that may be actually what makes the technology so brilliant. Some people are speculating, saying that it could be the CIA or some type of intelligence unit that actually co-created this, right? The world may never know. Now, let's get into David Sacks about the White House AI and crypto, which is the AI and crypto czar. And let's get into what he thought about the summit.
he owns some. In fact, it obtained around 400,000 Bitcoin over the past decade through.
Now, this is the thing that I have, and this is what I'm saying about Bitcoin, right? Everything need to get audited, including the Federal Reserve, including the Treasury Department, whoever's owning or holding the Bitcoin for, I believe that's Bitcoin that they that was seized, right? I'll read articles, and articles, everyone has a different number. One article said it was 190,000 Bitcoins that the US have, right? And over the past decade. Another article said it was 200,000, right? Now you have David Sachs saying that it was 400,000 Bitcoin, right? Just in an article yesterday on X, he quoted that it was, let me show this, because we need to have a finite number on these things. Like, it needs to be a number. It has to be something legitimate, because now it's looking like people they're just, I believe I follow David. I believe I follow David Sachs. Yes, I do. Right? Let me stop sharing that page, and I want to make my point on this. Then we're going to get back to this. We're going to get back to him. This is the aftermath, I will believe, right? After the summit, well, perhaps maybe before. But let's get into, I wanted to share this with you guys. And this is on X. We're going to view David Sachs' page, right? If you don't know, follow me on X. It is at Crypto Doe Bull. Follow me on X at Crypto Doe Bull. Now, they had the summit yesterday. But prior to that, he talked about when they made the announcement. When he made it, that's the guy from Coinbase, the owner, the CEO of Coinbase. When he made the announcement, I'm trying to find his posts. When they made the announcement, all right, we're gonna look at that in a few. Okay, guys, give me a couple of seconds to look for this actual, because I want to show you guys what he actually wrote. Okay, this is what I'm looking for right here. And look at how I believe that in this, they talked about the exact amount of, okay, I wanted to highlight this part right here. And they say it's estimated, but the estimation generally, you're close, right? First, I heard in a couple of articles, it was 190,000 Bitcoin that they had, right? But they stated that it has never been the audit has never been complete. I wanted to make a point to show you guys, and let me zoom in a bit. I wanted to make a point, and this was the President Trump signed executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So my thing is, we need to get it audited immediately. I mean, they need to get audited immediately. This is why. Because it's stated that it has estimated that the U.S., I'm reading from right here, the United States government owns about 200,000 Bitcoin. Then he also stated right after that it was 400,000 Bitcoin. Then I read an article that said it was 190,000 Bitcoin. So the question would then be, how much Bitcoin do you think that the United States actually own. That will be the thing. How many Bitcoins do you guys believe that the United States actually own? Is it 190? Is it 200,000? Is it 400,000? Right? Or perhaps it's 10 times more than that. They really don't know because they have not been an audit. They really have no idea. Okay, so now let's go on to, and I believe I can access the same thing from, let's go into a couple of scenes from the actual summit. Right?
In our backyard after trying to do the right thing for so many years and always trying to raise the bar with respect to regulations. So it's truly wonderful to see how things have changed and how the pendulum has swung back in the way that it has. And we've always felt that the U.S. should lead in Bitcoin and crypto, and it's ours to sort of lead and win. And it's just wonderful what President Trump has been doing with this, and we look forward to working together. And thanks for inviting us, David, and setting this up.
Thank you. Thank you both. Please.
I was just going to say thank you, Mr. President. Cameron takes credit for a lot of my things I say, so it's not the first time. But the U.S. won the internet, and
You had Kraken was there, CEO of that. You had David Sachs. You had the Chainlink CEO. You had Michael Saylor was there as well. You got a lot of important people there. We're just going to do a quick little view.
Oh,
So this is a trophy. It is a trophy which represents, and that's why I think it's interesting to show this.
You see Michael Saylor right there. He has to snap this picture immediately.
That's the past, but it's also projected to the future. There is no other sport, Mr. President.
there's some interesting work right now with all that's going on. He's right in the middle of it and doing a great job. Thank you. SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler. And thank you. SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce. Thank you, Hester. Acting CFTC Chairman Caroline Pham. House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Hello, Tom. Representative Brian Stile. Thank you. Brian, thank you very much. Digital Assets Council Director Bo Hines. Good, Bo. Great job. And many other distinguished guests. We have a lot of very distinguished people around the table. Some of them will be speaking. I want to thank Marco Rubio also, who's right over there. And we have tremendous people very interested in this subject. And last year, I promised to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world and the crypto capital of the planet. And we're taking historic action to deliver on that promise, as you know, around the table. Yesterday, I signed an executive order officially creating our strategic Bitcoin reserve. And this will be a virtual Fort Knox for digital gold to be housed within the United States Treasury. That's a big thing, Scott.
You're a pain flaw.
The federal government is already among the largest holders of Bitcoin, as you know. Really one of the largest holders in the world, with as many as 200,000 Bitcoin obtained via civil law and various other forms of law.
Listen to what Trump said. Trump said 200,000. We need to get this Bitcoin audited immediately, because Why did Trump say 200,000? Sachs said 200,000 too as well the day prior to it on X. But the real number happens to be Sachs just said 400,000. I've read it was 190,000. So these numbers aren't, it's too much off the table. We need accuracy here. We need accuracy. We need total accuracy. Let's go.
And including enforcement actions.
And also, do you think that this is going to be a sell-off? Because I'm looking at the market now, and we're going to take a look at the market on CoinMarketCap, right? We're going to take a look at the market on CoinMarketCap. And is this a sell-off? Is this a sell-off or a because Bitcoin is currently at 86,000 as we speak. 86,000 as we speak. So will it go down to that 73,000 or that 68,000? You guys think that it's going to bounce up? Because based on the news, the market isn't doing they didn't react to it at all.
These existing holdings will form the foundation of the new reserve. Unfortunately, in recent years, the U.S. government has foolishly sold tens of thousands of additional Bitcoin that were worth billions and billions of dollars had they not sold them, but they did sell them, mostly during the Biden administration. And not a good thing to have done. From this day on, America will follow the rule that every Bitcoin knows very well: never sell your Bitcoin. That's a little phrase that they have. I don't know if that's right or not. Who the hell knows, right?
I think that in the near future, it's going to be a war over Bitcoin, right? And whoever owns the most of Bitcoin can affect Bitcoin at a tremendous amount. Now you have Michael Saylor, which is part of the United States, and he owns MicroStrategy or Bitcoin Reserve or Bitcoin Strategy. So he may play a major part in it, along with the U.S. just a combined force. So he put himself, to me, in one of the greatest positions, and he can be a trillionaire in this lifetime just based on the fact that he owns it, along with Satoshi. Satoshi, he owns 100 million Bitcoins or something like that. So that right there will automatically put him all the way up. But he don't want to be known. They don't want to be known. We don't know. We can only speculate.
Who knows? Who knows? But so far, it's been right. And well, let's keep it that way. The Treasury and Commerce Departments will also explore new pathways to accumulate additional Bitcoin holdings for the reserve, provided it's done at no cost to the taxpayer.
So yeah, I hear that. They're going to have more Bitcoin purchasing power, but they're not going to directly print money to purchase Bitcoin because they don't want to run the deficit up. They're trying to cut back, so there's no point of spending more, right? And then allocating it. Let's find where we can cut back and then use that money to invest, right? So they do plan on investing in more Bitcoin. Now you have the altcoin community, right? So if you're only going to invest in Bitcoin, does it mean that you're going to invest in altcoin, or you just have the ability to sell altcoins? Because XRP donated $5 million worth of XRP to President Trump. Also 120, well, we got to see what the court happens to decide what they're going to settle for. How much will they settle for XRP? Will the court settle to allow XRP to have 120, maybe a fine of 125 million XRPs, or will they walk away free? That's the dilemma right now that people are facing. But they have chosen that the one that they're running with is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has its own separate reserve other than these other altcoins.
We don't want any cost to the taxpayers. In addition, my order directs federal agencies to conduct an inventory of all crypto assets currently held by the U.S. government and determine how they can be transferred easily to the Treasury. Non-Bitcoin digital assets will be held in a new U.S. digital asset stockpile where they will be managed properly. My administration also is working to end the federal bureaucracy's war on crypto, which was really going on pretty wildly during Biden until the election came about. About 5 months before the election, he became a big fan because he heard how many people were in favor of it and how many people love it and respect it. But I guess it didn't work out too well for him. People understood what was going on and paved the way for groundbreaking innovations in institutional finance. Under the Bitcoin administration, regulators strong-armed banks. I mean, they really did. They strong-armed banks into closing the accounts of crypto businesses and entrepreneurs, effectively blocking some money transfers to and from exchanges, and they weaponized government against the entire industry. But I know that feeling also. Maybe better than you do. All of that will soon be over, and we are ending Operation Choke Point 2.0.
That's good. Look how far we have came. You guys should be clapping altcoin holders and Bitcoin.
Now, some people really suffered. It was ridiculous what they were doing, but in the end, they came around, but they came around for the wrong reasons. They came around only because they wanted votes, and they saw that tens of millions of people were against them because of what they were doing. I also want to express my strong support for the efforts of lawmakers in Congress as they work on bills to provide regulatory certainty for dollar-backed stablecoins and the digital assets market. They're working very hard on that. This is a tremendous opportunity for economic growth and innovation in our financial sector, and will really go a long way. I think it's going to be a tremendous, we feel like pioneers in a way, of tremendous method of growth.
Indeed.
And things are very much tied, and we want to keep it that way. The U.S. dollar, long into the future, we're going to keep it that way. I hope lawmakers will send that legislation to my desk before August recess if they can. And they're very much working with you, and you know a lot of them, and a lot of them were committed right from the very beginning. So I just want to congratulate you all for being at the White House today, and a man who knows more about Bitcoin and AI and just about everything else than anybody, David Saxton. I'd like to have you say a few words, David.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're all here today because of your leadership, your vision, and your generosity, and I really want to thank you for that. We're also here because of your desire to make America great and to introduce a golden age in America, including for digital assets. And we're here because of your love of innovators, or as you might say, high IQ people.
Yeah,
We know you love high IQ people. And we have about 30 of them here in the room today. These are the top people in the digital asset industry. And one other thing that I think that you love is legal fairness. This is an industry that was subjected to prosecution and persecution for the last 4 years, horrible lawfare, and nobody knows what that feels like better than you do. So we really appreciate the fact that you understand legal fairness and that you're always willing to fight for the right thing, for legal fairness. You never back down. You stand defiant, even in the face of an assassin's bullet. It's an inspiration to everyone in this room, I think. So it's an honor.
You got to clap for that innovation.
Thank you.
So I just want to say it's an honor to work for you. It's an honor to work for a president who works every day to get so much done on behalf of the American people. Your administration is moving at tech speed. It's really amazing. It's actually faster than any startup that I've been part of. Is that your administration moves even faster? So I just want to say thank you for having me be a part of it. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I love working for you, and thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, David, very much. Appreciate it.
And now I just want to pass the ball to Secretary Besson.
Scott?
Good. David, so today, when President Trump.
Okay, I'm gonna let you guys watch the remaining of that video. I put it in the source. It's gonna be the first source, so you guys go check that out. Go watch it. It's a bit extensive. Go watch it. But you heard he say 200,000. I just wanted to make that point, right? And now let's go to a little bit after the video. I believe that this was the aftermath of the crypto summit. This was the aftermath. So let's
criminal and civil forfeitures. And In fact, it obtained around 400,000 Bitcoin over the past decade through criminal and civil forfeitures and seizures. And so the government has to have a strategy for how it deals with this. In the past, the strategy has been simply to sell it, in an ad hoc way, almost willy-nilly. And that cost American taxpayers something like $17 billion in lost value. So we want to have a long-term strategy to maximize the value of these holdings. And we've decided that Bitcoin is scarce, it's valuable, and that is strategic for the United States to hold on to this as a long-term reserve asset. So that's the plan with the 200,000 Bitcoin that we believe are in the possession of the federal government. And I say we believe because no one really knows for sure because we never had a proper audit. So that's one of the first things that this executive order provides, that we're going to do a full government-wide.
And that's it. That is the disclaimer. It have not been an audit. He was honest about that. We will do an audit because these numbers range. So I think after we get the audit, then that's what we can go about and see how much Bitcoin is actually already the government of the United States already own. We need a direct number on that because now we can know when to move and how to move. And will this drive the market? Let me know, do you guys, is this going to pump the market or dump the market? I've been saying that the market has been moving sideways. So I think that we still have a leg down to go because we have tariffs and everything else that's incoming. And that's what I personally think. And then we might have a bounce up right after that. I don't believe altcoin season is over. I think that it's just getting started. But let's continue. David Sachs.
Audit to find out what digital assets we actually have so they can be safeguarded and moved into a strategy that maximizes their long-term value.
Right. And then there's the stockpile. Talk to us about the nuance there and why you need a stockpile for altcoins and how you're treating them differently.
Right. Well, the idea there is, again, we're going to figure out what do we actually have on the federal balance sheet, and we're going to move those, like you said, altcoins or digital assets other than Bitcoin into a stockpile for safekeeping. The difference there is that the Secretary of the Treasury will exercise responsible stewardship over those assets, and he has the discretion to rebalance the portfolio or to sell items in that portfolio. But that's not true for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin we want to keep long-term. So there's a difference there in objective. With the reserve, the goal is long-term.
Okay, so let's break that down. And let's rewind. Let's rewind this a little bit. So you have Cardano, right? You have Ether and you have XRP and you have Sol as part of the stockpile reserve. So they're stating that I believe that they're going to be trading altcoins and maybe using the profit for altcoins to then buy Bitcoin. What do you guys think? Because Bitcoin is obviously the longer play. So they may be trading altcoins because Trump owns a lot of ETH, $47 billion worth, plus more, counting. So I think that this is going to be beneficial to altcoins as well, because I plan on converting most of my altcoins to actually Bitcoin too. So it's kind of like lining up. It kind of makes sense to me. Take the profit from that, put it in something else that's going to gain 9% through 27% a year minimum. Why not? And Bitcoin's the answer. If it's backed by the government, then it's definitely going to go up. And you're going to look back 10 years from now and say, oh, Bitcoin at 100,000? Why didn't I get it? It's at $1 million right now. It's at 2 million. It's at 3 million. It's at 4 million. So what's 100,000 or 4 million at 5 million, 6 million? I would like for people to zoom out. Zoom out. Yes, you may be upset at the fact that they're saying, hey, they're putting more eyes on Bitcoin, less eyes on altcoins, but I believe that they will be trading altcoins, taking the profit, which means if they're holding it as far as a stockpile, don't you think that pile is going to go up? Just saying. As soon as they announce crypto tax-free, goes up. Bitcoin goes up. So let me know what you guys think they're going to do. Let's listen to some more because this is very interesting to me. I've been in crypto for well over 6 years, like I say. So these are the type of things that I like to cover because it's very well, let's just say it's well deserved that we finally have the law on our side and we finally have some form of framework. because we never had a framework before. That's why I didn't understand why XRP was going to court according to how the three branches of laws work. We never had anything dealing with what crypto is, what make crypto crypto. Is it security? Is it an asset? Is it a commodity? Is it a tokenization aspect of it? No one ever really truly knew. So this right here is the framework that needs to be built. And yes, they're going to add on to more of this. They're going to add on. They're just building it out. They don't have the highway yet. They don't have the roadmap yet. They just let you guys know we're getting started. And like I say, with these tariffs going on around the world, and they're changing everything, because I believe that all the dollars will be digitized, right, around the world. We're going to have digital IDs, maybe a stable coin that's going to convert all of the US dollars into stable coins. Maybe they use Circle. Maybe they use XRPL on the ledger. Maybe they use that. Maybe they use RLUSD as far as the 3 to 5 seconds TPS, transactions per second. So we don't know what they have decided on. But let's see, because we're at the beginning of everything. Let's go.
The difference there is that the Secretary of the Treasury will exercise responsible stewardship over those assets, and he has the discretion to rebalance the portfolio or to sell items in that portfolio. But that's not true for Bitcoin. The Bitcoin we want to keep long-term. So there's a difference there in objective. With the reserve, the goal is long-term preservation. With the stockpile, the goal is responsible stewardship, portfolio management in essence.
David, the executive order also tasks Secretary Lutnick and Bessent with finding budget neutral ways that won't cost the taxpayer to add to that reserve. What qualifies as budget neutral? Can you give us some examples of how that would actually work?
Well, budget neutral just means it won't cost the taxpayer anything. It won't increase the deficit. It won't increase the debt. So that's basically the constraints on what they can do. If they can figure out creative ways to add to the stock, to the reserve of Bitcoin, they're allowed to accumulate more Bitcoin. But again, it cannot impose any burden on the federal deficit, debt, or the taxpayer. So that's the rule. Now, you can ask the question, well, how are they going to do that? And I think that's sort of up to them. If they can figure out creative strategies that they believe are in the long-term interest of the country, they now have the authorization to develop those strategies.
Do you think using savings that come from Doge, for example, qualify as something that would be budget neutral?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question. I think that that's something that have to be assessed by probably the Office of Management and Budget. I think that since Doge is cutting the deficit, and we'd want to seek a way to rescind those appropriations, it probably would not count, but you probably have to ask the OMB that.
When you talk about the stewardship, particularly the stockpile, could you be seeing things like staking, lending? Is there going to be other ways to maximize the volume there?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean,
Great question.
I think that the idea of this executive order is to create the mandate, right? So first of all, we're going to move these digital assets from wherever they are.
A lot of these protocols are going to allow you to stake. Solana is going to allow you to stake. Cardano allows you to stake. To me, Cardano, ADA have one of the best stakings to me, right? Because you don't need a lot of ADA in order to stake. You can probably, what about nodes? So if we can grow we can find nice ways to grow the altcoin stockpiles, right? Because they say they don't plan on adding to it, but they plan on being the stewardess of it, which means that they plan on doing something with it, right? It's just not there for these things. Wasn't selected or elected for nothing. These things still have value. These protocols, these technologies is still needed in the space. One is for the reserve. Think about it. You have gold as a reserve. You have silver, copper, zinc. I look at it like that. So which one among the two do you believe is silver? XRP? How about ADA? How about Sol? How about Ethereum? Ether, right? Which one is copper? Which one is zinc? Which was in aluminum? Hell, which one is oil? That's how I begin to look at these things, because all of these things are needed. if you want to build out the space, if you want to be the crypto capital. This is why you have Japan. I'm talking about inheriting XRP. Right? Japan just announced the other day that XRP will be they lowering down the taxes on it, damn near tax-free. XRP already have relationships with all the banks in the world, including Bank of America, one of the United States' largest banks. So this is a very tricky thing, and we all are speculating right now. I'm sure they're going to give you more grave detail as time go on. Let time tell it, right? Let time tell it.
All over the government. We're going to find out what they are. First of all, we're going to do the accounting. We're going to do the audit. Then we're going to move them into a separate account for safekeeping. And then the Secretary of the Treasury and his team will be able to exercise portfolio management and long-term and responsible stewardship. And yes, that could include staking. It could include rebalancing. It could include sales. These are all options that they can pursue if the Secretary of the Treasury believes that these are in the long-term interest.
Staking, I would like to say, how about nodes, lending as well? Another one that I like on ADA is called LendFi. So these things are going to go up, basically. ADA allows you to stake as well. ETH has a staking protocol as well. It has this layer 2s that's making it possible. Sol is another one as far as transactions per second, is one of the fastest protocols that we know. So I think this is great for the space. David Sachs, I appreciate you as much as I appreciate Trump, as much as I appreciate the United States of America, as much as I appreciate the people, right?
Of the American people.
Just going into what's in the holding of the US government, going back to what President Trump mentioned over the weekend, talking of Ripple, Solana, other alternative coins that people are wondering whether they're going to be included in this stockpile. Will they? Does the US own them? Why mention them by the president?
Well, the president just mentioned the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap. So I think people are just reading into this a little bit too much. He just mentioned the top 5. In terms of what we'll actually have, again, we have to do the accounting. We're not sure, sitting here today, whether the federal government owns any of these alternative cryptocurrencies. We know it owns Bitcoin. I believe it owns some Ethereum. I'm not sure about the other ones. This is why we have to do the accounting, is that, to be honest, no one's been able to give us a straight answer yet in terms of what the federal government owns.
Well, Trump itself owns XRP, but I don't know if the federal government owns any XRP, unless upon settlement, they ask them to pay them an egregious amount. Then, by law, they would then own XRP. So did XRP, as far as XRP, this court case perhaps is beneficial if they do get a settlement, right? It can work in both favors, because now by law the federal government already owns some of your assets, right? Now, what would the federal government do with your assets? Would they hold it? Would they stake it? Would they lend it? Would they sell it? Nobody knows.
And this is part of the problem, is that we've never really had a digital asset strategy before.
Right.
And this is why we've, missed out on accumulating a lot of value for the American people.
David, you mentioned earlier that you don't have any additional cryptocurrency assets anymore. You've divested from your interests there. However, Secretary Lutnick in July mentioned that he had, quote, a shed load of Bitcoin. Do you think it's important for these stewards of the reserve and the stockpile to divest from their cryptocurrency interests? Do you know if they've done so already?
I can't speak to his situation. Every member of the administration has to go through the same ethics process and the same conflict of interest process that I've gone through. So I'll let him speak to his own situation. I can just say that in my case, I divested or sold all the cryptocurrency that I owned prior to the start of the administration. So there's no conflict in my case. I just want to have the right innovation policies for the United States.
Well said.
Do you think it's important, though, to just not have that appearance of a conflict of interest?
Sure. I mean, look, we're all subject to 18 U.S.C. 208. These are the conflict of interest provisions. Every member of the administration is subject to that. And but I'm not going to speak to anyone's situation. So we all are governed by the same conflict of interest rules. In my case, I chose to just divest everything to make it really simple. You should ask every other member of the administration what their situation is.
How about the president? Because I think herein lies some of the issues for those who are on the outside of crypto looking in and suddenly feel that the US president has an exposure to meme coins or Solana. How do you give the confidence to the US investor base and indeed US population that this is totally legit?
Well, the president, he himself don't own anything. World Liberty Financial, that's an entity. Maybe that's the loop. Who knows?
Well, honestly, I think you're kind of making something up there. I mean, how do you know that he has exposure to Solana? Is that something you just came up with?
Well, ultimately, when we think about the meme coin exposure in particular, and people trying to understand for what reason we have a Trump coin or Melania coin, is there a clearer way that the US president can disassociate himself from any of any upside when it comes to cryptocurrencies?
Well, I think he's already spoke to the Trump coin, and I think that is a collectible. The SEC said it's a,
And he launched it prior to his inauguration. So, and he said that it's upon your risk, and it's a meme coin. It's a collectible, which is legal. These guys are playing by the rules. That's all I'm saying.
collectible. Collectibles have no intrinsic value. They're not securities. They're in a different category. And I think as long as you issue a meme coin and disclaim that there's no intrinsic value, it can just be a collectible. So that is a different category, I think, than what we're talking about here with cryptocurrencies.
What do you make of some of the market reaction? I mean, clearly Bitcoin down earlier today on the back of just not really getting.
We give it up for David Sachs. He's trying to make America great again. This is why. He's Team Trump. He did not throw Trump under the bus. He's not a lawyer. He's not a legal representative, but he said what needed to be said. Trump is doing everything by the book, ma'am. I know you're trying to get your reaction and get your views up. Not over here. Not on David Sachs. Not on the Republican. Not on this administration. Right? Maybe on the next one, but not on this one. Well said. I like that.
What they were hoping for. You know, if the government is not going to buy additional crypto, then what's really the benefit? But can you say for sure that the administration is not open to using taxpayer dollars in the future? Is that completely off the table?
According to the CEO, it is. We've said that this will not cost taxpayers a dime. So we've been very clear in this executive order that we will not use taxpayer funds to basically accumulate more crypto unless it can be done in a completely budget neutral way. No increase in the deficit, no increase in the debt, no use of taxpayer funds, no burden on the taxpayer. We've been very clear in this executive order about that.
David, let's move on to artificial intelligence, where you're also weighing in on policy there. The Biden executive order was repealed in January. What is in the works currently that you can share about how that's looking and who's involved?
So the president in his week one executive order on AI that rescinded the Biden EO, by the way, that was a very burdensome executive order that Biden had passed. It was over 100 pages of burdensome regulations on AI companies. The whole industry hated it. He rescinded that, and he tasked 3 people to basically evaluate and create a new AI action plan. And those people are the head of the Office of Science Technology Policy, the National Security Advisor, and myself. And so we're currently working on that plan. And we'll have more information for you about that once we're ready to present.
David, how confident are you at this moment around AI leadership here in the United States? That thick and fast, the news coming out of China, for example, of the latest models that are incredibly powerful with less data and ultimately more efficient. How are you exercising the view that AI can be still a leader for the United States and not losing its leadership versus China?
Well, I'm confident in American leadership, but we can't be complacent about it. I mean, it's very clear that China is going to be very, very competitive. Something like roughly half of the AI researchers in the world are from China. They are very good at math and science. And you've seen with the launch of DeepSeek that they're very good. They have very good AI software companies. So this is going to be a very competitive race, and we have to win that race, but we can't be complacent about that in any way. It's going to be a very tough competition here.
There's actually reporting from other news sources that maybe DeepSeek would be banned from apps here in the United States. Do you think that's appropriate?
It's premature for me to comment on something like that. If the administration announces a policy on that, then I'll comment on it then.
Let's talk about some of the other voices inside the White House as of late that could potentially chime in on AI policy. Elon Musk, is he involved in any capacity?
Not in what we're doing. So, again, we have an office within the White House, and we deal with crypto and AI policy. Elon's doing Doge, and these are two totally separate initiatives.
But let's talk a little bit more about what the contours of the AI policy could look like. I realize you can't share too much at the moment, but what will be your priority areas? A lot of the talk has been around AI competitiveness, and what we've seen coming out of President Trump's comments around the CHIPS Act and then National Science Foundation layoffs. There is some concern that this could undermine competitiveness.
I mean, yeah, but that's why I tell people that they're going to make America great again by even having factories. They're going to make America have factories again. Therefore, why do you think that the TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, right? They're moving to Arizona. Why do you think Apple is moving back to the United States of America? They're setting up $500 billion worth of factories, right? Why do you think Toyota is coming back? And that's just to name a few. They're incentivizing companies to actually being built in the United States, right? In order for us to actually make factories here. See, we sold our factories in 1991. We sold that over our protocols. We sold that to China. That's why everything was made in China. That's what made China so great. Now, as far as 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, that will change. We're going to make everything on a home-based, home factory. Yet, will it be more? Will it cost? Will the cost go up for the transition of the actual protocol? Of course. But eventually, it will then go down just as much as it did in China. When they first had the industrial protocol, it was a bit high, right? They had to adjust. They became the factory of the world. It wasn't an overnight process, right? It was a very rigorous process. Now we're about to do the same thing in reverse engineering, which means that China, to me, in the near future, will be in trouble. Just saying. Look 15, 20 years out. It's not today. It's not tomorrow. Zoom out. Look 15, 20 years out.
Competitiveness if there's not enough federal.
And let me repeat, this is a bipartisan thing, which means that Republican and Democrats have to be on the same page. I don't really see a Democrat being elected in a while because the truth is finally coming out. But I'm just saying, bipartisan, this is a bipartisan thing. Biden did the same thing. At least he was headed in that direction. Now, how he managed the actual government and the system, he kind of mismanaged it. But at the same time, some of the efforts was geared towards where we're at now. Let's continue.
Funding going to research. What are your thoughts on that?
10 times better.
Well, I think there are some items that are policy items that are coming up very quickly. So, for example, there was this 11th hour policy that was announced by, or rule, that was announced called the diffusion rule that was announced by the Biden administration. And that governs the sale of advanced AI chips or GPUs to countries all across the world. They're basically an international version of the export controls. There's a 120-day clock on that in order for the Trump administration to weigh in and make whatever modifications we want to make. So, for example, I think that's probably going to be one of the first policy items on our plate that we have to address because there's a clock on it. So I think that, export controls are a big area. Diffusion's a big area. Just how we govern the licensing of the most sophisticated chips and semiconductor manufacturing equipment is sort of at the heart of the policy discussion right now.
Would you ultimately be supporting an end to the CHIPS Act?
I don't think that anyone in the administration has said we want to end it, but the president has been very critical of it, and I think with good reason. I mean, I think the intent of the CHIPS Act was good. We were trying to get semiconductor manufacturing to occur in the United States because it's so strategic. The problem is that the money went to, frankly, a lot of companies who are losing in that very competitive market. And some of those companies haven't even used the money that they were granted because they're not doing very well. So the CHIPS Act has had, I think, mixed results at a high cost. And the question is just whether we can do something much better. And I think what the president has said is that he would like to use tariffs as an incentive to get companies to onshore their semiconductor manufacturing.
So I
here.
left this in the description as well. Go check it out. It is the second source. Now let's go to crypto. I wanted to go to the crypto bubble, right? I wanted to go to the crypto bubble to show you guys, hey, in a day, what happened based on this this news. What actually happened? Did anything actually move? So let's go to crypto bubble. Can you guys see that? Okay, let's get it a little larger. This is what's going on in the crypto bubble. In an hour, okay, it's up by 1, 2, 3, 4, no more than 5%, no more than 4%. In a day, you guys see what's going on. You guys see what's going on. You have Link, you have H bar. Everything is basically down. In a week, you guys see what's going on. ADA is one of the big players. Bitcoin Cash, that's another one that I like. XRP. ENA, I don't know about that. Tron, we know about that. BGB, we know about that. Okay, in a month, you guys see the big gainer, MKR. Those are the big gainers. Those are the big gainers. I like to pay attention to the United States-backed currencies. Ondo, in a year, Ondo is up 50%, 58%. Look at what's going on. XMR, that's up 50%. That's Monero. I like that one too. That's a privacy one. I never heard of OM. Never heard of that one. SUI is up that percentage as well. Okay. So you guys see that's the crypto bubble. That's the crypto bubble. Now let's go to CoinMarketCap. Before I go, I just wanted to show you what's actually going on in the market, right? We heard the news. We covered it. Let's go to CoinMarketCap. What is the Fear the Greed Index? Fear the Greed Index, it went down. It was just at 30. Now it's at 25. Look at the market cap right now. We're at a $2.84 trillion market cap. Is down 3%. Bitcoin is currently at 86,000. Can you guys see that? And make sure you can see that. Let's zoom in into CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin is at, okay. I'm sure you can see it now. Bitcoin is at 86,000. We're just doing a quick little overview of the market. Ethereum is at 21, Tether, XRP, BNB. Solana right now is at 137. You know what I wanted to show? I wanted to talk about some AI, right? What AI do I like as far as AI technology, right? Because he's part of the crypto and AI. So have you guys ever heard of TARS AI? Go look this up when you get a chance. It's built on Solana. Look at the market cap. Anything under 100, I love to invest in because the gains are, when I mean ridiculous, right? In a year, it went all the way up to 50 cents. You guys see that? Let me make sure. Okay, you guys can see it nice and clear. So your homework today is look up TARS AI. It was all the way up at 50 cents, right? It went all the way down to 0.9 cents. So from that point on, it can 1x. Let's just round it to 10. 1x, 2x at 30 cents, 3x, 4x. It can minimum 4x by the cycle. 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x. That's just minimum, right? That's just minimum. It can 4x. So I think these are good entry points. So you can dollar cost average because I think the market's going to go down a bit more. So you can dollar cost average, not financial advice. I like TARS AI. I also like, there's another one that I like, Fetch. or Fitch. This one right here. I like, well, they don't have, it's called Artificial Superintelligence Alias Statistics. And this one is actually a merger, right? This one is actually a merger. Look at the market. Well, the market cap for this one is large already, but it can get even larger. 7 days, it was at 75 cents. Let's just see where we're at in a year. This was damn near $3.20 in a year. It's just at 60 cents. You can't beat that as well. And Fetch AI is Singularity Net and Ocean Protocol. Both of them did a merger together. These are considered AI, right? Check that out. Also, this may be a larger market cap. What is it? Tensor Tau. What's the ticker symbol? TN? No. Tensor Tau. TAO. I believe it's TAO. Tensor Tau right here. It's at a $2 billion market cap. It's already at $272, right? But this one a month ago, it was just at $469, right? A year ago, hell, it was at $700. I'm just saying these things, it's at a discount. See, I like to shop when things are at a discount, 62% discount, just to name a few. So I wanted to give you guys a couple of things to look up. Look at Tensor Tau. Look at if you want a better entry point for something, how about Fetch? Also, look at TARS AI, which is built on Solana as well. You all know that Solana is part of the stockpile. So that's going to be there for a little second. On that note, I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Give me the 10,000 subs. That's all I ask. This is Crypto Dough. Put on your seatbelts. It's time to take off in 5,